Good morning! If you're new, I'm Leandra the TBR0, and I have a very different kind of video concept for you that I don't ever do, and that is a smorgasbord of footage from a recent trip. And by recent, I mean back in May. I was really lucky to meet up for a weekend with 4 other booktubers that you may recognize here on Booktube. The 4 booktubers you will see in this footage include Nell from Nell Diamond, Vanessa from Read with Dr. B, Katy from I Would Rather Be Reading, and Bree from The Book Travert. I adore these ladies so much. They were so fun. They're so sweet. Their presence on the internet matches their personalities and who they are when you meet them in person. So if you ever get the chance, please say hello to them. And by chance, I mean, hey, go subscribe to them, go like their videos, go watch their content, because they deserve the world. All right, that's all I had to say about them. I told them this multiple times on the trip, but I need to emphasize here now how thoughtful they were in reaching out to me and inviting me to join them, just because we all lived pretty close near each other. Some of us had to fly, but the fact that they ended up thinking of me and thought I could join them for the weekend, it was really nice, and it was a really fun weekend. So this is going to be a very short, sweet, hopefully cozy vlog, and I'll provide a bit of a voice over as you watch it, but the idea is to highlight these lovely ladies, make sure that you can check them out below in the description, and just, yeah, enjoy this very cozy vlog that I never really do, because there isn't much reading that is actually done, and I'm not really going to talk about any books, so enjoy. And so begins my visit with 4 booktubers I'd never met except for my interactions with them on the internet. We were honestly so nervous. It was really sweet that all of us were as excited as we could be, but we just jumped right into it. We had this lovely lunch as soon as we arrived, and it felt as though we had rented out the place because there weren't anyone else at the tables, and that's exactly how I liked it. We had a great time basically getting to know each other. It was very funny. We had these delicious cocktails as well, while also hydrating, because that is very important. I also enjoyed a great appetizer. I shared it with Nell herself. It is a memory to put into the books, and we ended up getting dessert afterwards. This was really right next door to the restaurant, this place where you could get ice cream and treats and stuffed animals. I can't remember what I ended up getting, but it was delicious. We went to Curious Iguana. This is a local indie bookstore in Frederick, Maryland, if you're ever in the area. It was so cute. I love how jam-packed all of the shelves were. They offered so many different types of books, and the sections were really well stocked. Look how cozy it is with the stairs, and look how cute Nell is. She's adorable. You'll also see a little bit of a peek of Katy behind me soon. Here comes. Oh, look at her with Vanessa, just doing some searching of books. And I ended up finding a copy of my boss's book, A Body Made of Glass, which I had already pre-ordered, so I had it, but it was really fun to see it in the natural environment of the bookstore. We then ended up stopping at the Frederick Library, and this place was massive. As someone who works at a library branch, this did not compare. There were multiple levels. It was so well organized. They had multiple copies of so many books to the point where I couldn't believe it. Even this, I'm glad my mother died, the number of copies they had, crazy. We also ended up having this really fun night of games, and it was a great icebreaker for us to kind of get to know each other's humor, and it was so fun. The next morning, while we were hanging out at Vanessa's home, we watched Rainy on the television. So Rainy Blue Reads, you weren't with us, but you were with us. And we, afterwards, binging Rainy's content, went to the Book Cafe. It was such a cute little cafe. I really loved the aesthetic of it, and the sandwich was delicious, but there was also this great photo area where we saw these fake vines. We 100% had our own little photo shoot amongst the 5 of us, and Vanessa was the star. She was the best photographer you ever did see, and I loved the way the menu looked. It was very kind of rustic and also simplistic. That sandwich, the morning sandwich, is exactly what I had. It was scrum delicious. It was the best decision of my life. And of course, we had to go to the Holy Grail, which is Barnes & Noble, and I was way too excited. Even though Barnes & Noble is a really commonplace, I don't know. I always get really excited when I go there because I don't have one too close to me. We ended up witnessing some of the flora and the fauna. We kept our distance though, while we perused the boardwalk and walked around this really lovely, I guess it's a pond. I don't know if it's man-made. I should have asked, but none of us really were in the mood to look too deeply into it. We just were enjoying the sights, as you can see here. Afterwards, we went to this really delicious little cafe that had boba tea, and oh my gosh, everyone's so adorable. Look at them around the table. They're so happy. Honestly, this was such a fun time. Anyways, let's get back to explaining the content. We tried these donuts. I should also remember the name, but it was honestly so sweet of Vanessa because she treated us all, and she is one of the nicest people ever. We also, again, took some time to look at the ducks, the geese, keeping our distance, not telling them that we are enemies of any sort, because that's exactly what we were not. We went to a few other local shops. This one was really cute. I enjoyed the variety of items, including the stickers, which I was really also appreciative of Vanessa pointing out the fact that she spotted some ghost stickers, and yes, I did bring them home with me. I love them so much. Now you finally are seeing what we did while we were in Barnes & Noble. We pretty much just went off on our own, but there is a project coming that did take place while we were at the bookstore. We got the details settled. We will be doing it amongst the 5 of us. It's not my project to basically reveal, but you may be intrigued by some of the books I'm pulling, what they could mean, what is in store for us, but that project will be coming to fruition in a handful of weeks, so don't worry, you won't be waiting too long. But yeah, I enjoy walking through a bookstore. It's really lovely, and I think it's a luxury that we don't think about. Not necessarily the fact of buying books, but just perusing the bookstore, being surrounded by books. It's very calming. It's a really great stress reliever for me. A lot of times I'll go to a bookstore and not buy anything, but I really enjoy the experience of seeing others look at books, seeing what's new, and yeah, it was really fun. We also got up to shenanigans, as you can see. This will also come to fruition in a few weeks. You may have an inkling of what's going on, but I won't reveal anything. What I can say is this was such a fun time. It was honestly so hilarious. The belly laugh that came from me because of this, it was basically just such a lovely weekend, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world. Thanks, friends! Thank you so much for watching this very short and sweet vlog. I had such a great time on this weekend. I hope you could tell through the various clips that I showed you. The one thing I didn't show were the books that I bought along the way. One book I bought while I was hanging out with these lovely ladies was A Prayer for the Crown Child by Becky Chambers. This book I did read and I adored it so much, and I had been scouring bookstores to find a copy of it just because for some reason it didn't seem like it was very well stocked, maybe because it's not obviously a very new title, on top of the fact that everyone really loves it and they're probably scooping it up themselves. But I was really lucky to find this and I thought it was meant to be, so I picked that up. And then I actually on the way home had to stop because I also wanted to make a return. I realized I brought books with me, but I didn't bring them to said store to return them to Barnes & Noble, so I was like, well, I might as well find a Barnes & Noble along the way home while I don't, interrupt the fun trip that we're having. And while I was there, this was actually a reveal that we had the announcement video for the Amazing Readathon, and I really wanted to make sure I was in the comments and promoting the premiere for Bree from Four Paws in a Book. And so I stopped at a bookstore, I did the exchange, I returned some books, and then I just sat in one of their chairs, which I know people say not to do because of how gross they are, but I needed to wait, and I watched the premiere and it was really fun. And while I was there, the hype ended up causing me to buy 2 other books that are not related to the trip, and that was Diavola by Jennifer Thorne, a haunted villa, so a bit of a twist on the haunted house story just published this year, and then Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Chismore, which I knew nothing about besides the fact that on the back it said it was a serial killing summer 1988, and there were some metafictional references that the author was a bit experimental. Those were the 3 books that I ended up buying on the closing end of the trip. But I really am grateful to everyone who was not only able to get to the end and show your support by watching the entire video, but also those of you who plan on checking out the 4 booktubers I mentioned. Katy, Nell, Bree, Vanessa, all 4 of them are really, really wonderful people, and I can't wait for the next time I get to see them in person, because it was so great. And it was very much needed, and I don't know if they knew that. But anyways, be sure to like the video if you had a good time, comment anything that you have thoughts about, and also consider subscribing if you are interested in my content, especially because this isn't something I do very often. So if you want to see more of it, maybe let me know about that in the comments. And also thank you to my guests at the manor. I've had a few new guests arrive, and those include Sheila and Caitlin, who I believe I thanked Caitlin in another video that hasn't come out yet. So Caitlin, you're gonna get a thank you twice. What can I say? I'm so grateful. But I'm also grateful to my other manor guests who are in the sleuth, witness, suspect, and corpse tier. You all are just so wonderful, and I really do hope to see everybody in the next one. Bye.